Dumpling, congratulations. Over to your left. Congratulations on your win. First of all, what was it like for you to come to the United States and compete in Power Slap after your career and you having such a role in Dana White getting into slapping?
Во-первых, Пельмень, поздравляю с шикарной победой. И вопрос, какое ощущение приехать по полный путь в России и выступить здесь на Power Slap с Дэном Уайтом?
Спасибо за поздравления. Ну, очень крутые, хорошие эмоции. Получилась очень хорошая история, когда вот я приехал и выиграл первым же ударом, как бы показал мощь.
Thanks for congratulations. I mean, I'm experiencing really good emotions right now, and it feels really good. I just did a first punch and knocked him out.
From your standpoint, knowing that you played a role and the sport is now becoming a lot bigger, a lot more significant given the involvement of Dana White in this group, do you take pride in the fact that you have made a difference in the sport, not only as a competitor, but in terms of helping it forward and making it more legitimate for other athletes?
Осознавая то, что вообще история Power Slap начиналась с тебя, как бы Дана Уайт, увидев тебя, начал Power Slap. Кроме того, как ощущая себя как бойца, ты осознаешь то, что ты продвигаешь этот спорт?
По отношению людей ко мне, как бы я себя чувствую какой-то звездой, типа первоначальником этого вида спорта. Как бы. Ну, в первую очередь, я как бы выступающий спортсмен по этому виду спорта. Но раньше для меня это было шоу, а сейчас я приехал и здесь к этому относится как уже полноценному спорту.
Yeah, back at home it was I was feeling like it was a show, but as soon as I got here and right now I realized that it's more than a show, it's becoming a real sport, and I'm pretty happy to be here.
You walked out with Alexander Volkov, and obviously he's well known to all of us as who cover UFC. Are you guys friends? Did you have a relationship, or how did you get connected with him?
Ты выходил, и в твоем углу был Александр Волков, личность, которую мы все знаем, звезда UFC. Расскажи, пожалуйста, вы друзья, вы дружили раньше или как вы познакомились?
Ну, мы раньше виделись в Москве на российских промоушен, там, боевых по ММА. Первый раз вот мы увиделись, пообщались, познакомились здесь, в Вегасе, как бы вот. Он меня тренировал, и вот все получилось очень удачно, хорошо. Большое ему за это спасибо. Теперь я думаю, мы теперь друзья.
Well, we have met before in Russian tournaments, but first time that we met and really spoke, it was here in Las Vegas, and I did my camp with him, and I can say right now that, yeah, we became friends.
The crazy Hawaiian, after his fight, said, "I want dumplings so bad." I wonder what you thought of his performance, and do you feel like you're going to fight for the championship next?
Crazy Гавайян позвал тебя после своего боя, и как тебе понравилось его выступление, и хотел ли бы ты биться за пояс скоро?
Ну, его на выступление я посмотрел, ну, как бы сильный, но я ожидал большего, получается, от него. Ну, биться за пояс — это и есть цель, приехать и выиграть пояс, и увезти его домой в Россию.
Yeah, I watched his fight, but I wasn't really impressed, that impressed, because I was expecting more from him. And of course, to take a belt is my goal, and take it home back to Russia. So yeah, I'm ready.
Wanted to ask you just a bit about your personal life. You're a farmer when you're not a slapper. Is that what you do? And what do you farm?
Хотелось бы спросить, когда ты не дерешься, ты фермер, и вот хотелось спросить, чем ты занимаешься на ферме?
Когда я не бьюсь, живу обычной жизнью на ферме, как бы там мы сеем поля, кормим животных, там свиней, куры, как бы обычная жизнь.
When I'm not fighting, I live like regular people. I have a farm, I have a big land, and I have pigs on my farm, and I have a chicken, so I live normal life basically.
And how do you, there are a lot of people inside, you live in Siberia, I understand. Are there a lot of people that slap? Do you have a lot of people that you can work with to practice around there?
Насколько я вот знаю, ты из Сибири, а в Сибири много ли людей, с кем ты тренируешься и даешь пощечины?
Ну, я как бы не тренируюсь на людях, как бы тренируюсь на мешке, и то, когда предстоят бои, как бы.
I really don't train on people, I train on punching bags, I mean.
And last thing I just wanted to ask you is, in the United States still, on the social media, people criticize Power Slap, it's crazy. There's a lot of hate against it. Obviously, this sport started in Eastern Europe. What is the perception in Russia of slap fighting competitions, and is it different than what you know of in the United States?
В Америке Power Slap вообще набрал много хейта из-за того, что люди считают, что это сумасшедший спорт. Так как это вообще сама пощечина, Power Slap пришла из Европы, можно сказать. Вообще в России как относятся к этому?
Да вот, наверное, в России также относятся, что много там хейта и все такого, что это за вид спорта. Но он набрал популярность, люди это смотрят, люди хотят зрелища, и вот получают его. Если бы, например, его никто не любил бы, я бы здесь сейчас не сидел бы.
Well, I would say it's the same in Russia. People hate and criticize, but no matter what, it's becoming really popular, and people love to watch it. And if they wouldn't love it, I wouldn't be here.
You mentioned that it feels more like a show overseas. Can you kind of give me some examples of how different it is to compete in Russia versus here?
Ты сказал то, что здесь дома, точнее, это больше как шоу, и здесь это как бы более профессиональный спорт. Вот можешь ли ты про разницу вот эти просто сказать в двух словах?
Ну, разница в том, что как бы, тут сразу была медкомиссия, там, вот это все вот, карточки, там, тут как она там, карточка бойца получалась, как бы, полностью медицинский осмотр, все, весь регламент, как бы вот, как к профессиональным спортсменам относится, а у нас, как шоу, и все.
I mean, back at home, it's like more like a show that it's quite different here as far as the professionalism, like medical stuff, as far as they make fighter cards, like media is working really professionally. So it's on I would say it's just a higher level, highest level. Все.
Всем спасибо, всем пока.
Thanks everybody for your attention, and everybody bye.
Hey, Paige, congratulations. First of all, what was the experience like? I know everybody wants to know that. First of all, what was it like for you?
Honestly, it was incredible. I was kind of hoping to slap second because I think if you noticed in it, once I got hit, I really was like, oh, I am good at this. I can do this. It got me juiced up. It got me excited. I wasn't nervous about slapping somebody at all just because coming from the MMA world, boxing and bare knuckle boxing, I knew I could throw a strike, but it was just taking a slap and standing there and eating it that I was a little nervous about. And obviously, I did very well.
I thought when you walked out, I thought of your fight against Rose Namajunas and all the punishment you took in that fight, and I knew you wouldn't quit. But the thing I wondered about, this girl fought Sheena, who I think was, cutting from 175 or something, and they fought at a bigger weight. Were you at all concerned going into the fight of the size difference between you? She looked very big relative to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew that I wasn't cutting weight for this. I walked in underweight. I really believe, and I will continue to fight at 135 for Power Slap. I do not think cutting weight for this is a good idea at all. I knew she would have size on me, especially she competed at 155, but it wasn't the size that concerned me. It was looking at her resume. I know that she's been actually training for, power slap or slap boxing for a very long time. So I knew that her technique would be correct, it would be accurate, and she would not foul me. So I just did not want to foul. Of course, I did once, but it's a learning process, and I'm really excited. She was my first opponent. It was somebody who has had a resume in power slap before, so now it's just on to the next.
You got dropped by Elle Brooke in your boxing match. How did her power compare to what you felt from Christine tonight?
Yeah, with my boxing match, of course, that was something I thought about too, but I got dropped because I cut 30 pounds in 2 weeks, and it was, taking a boxing match after having a 2-year layoff. Of course, Brooke hit Elle Brooke hit extremely hard, but I've been keeping my weight down for a reason, because I do intend on having a rematch with her at the end of the year, and I won't be taking the fight on short notice this time. I'll have plenty of time to prepare.
And one of the things that hasn't been talked about, but it's been over 5 years since you had your arm raised and had a win. How did that feel tonight?
I have a lot of other victories in my life. This is just a hobby for me. I am so blessed. I have an amazing family, amazing husband. It felt good to come here and realize that I don't have to do this. I'm doing this because I want to. And, it's just a hobby. And I'm happy that I get to do this.
Obviously, Frank and Dana both said they think your presence is going to spur more women. Have any women contacted you about this and that you spoke to and that you think may give this a shot?
No women have contacted me with interest in power slap yet. They all think I'm absolutely insane for doing this. Maybe after they saw the way I competed, seeing somebody who was at the highest level in MMA be able to compete very well into this sport, maybe that will entice them to come over as well.
Paige, over here. What you just said kind of reminds me of your debut at BKFC. It seems like people thought you were crazy for that, and your name kind of put a spotlight on that promotion and kind of led to where it is now. Can you compare your experience in that to now debuting in this and just kind of the critics and everything?
Yeah, it felt absolutely the same. Going from the UFC to bare knuckle boxing, it felt the exact same as coming here to power slap. I think nobody expected it. BKFC still wasn't the powerhouse name that it is now. So I do think I sparked a lot of interest in people going over to BKFC, and I think I'll do the exact same thing here with power slap. You don't know until you know, and now I hope I let everybody know that I do belong here, and I want to do crazy things.
In terms of, you said you didn't think cutting weight for this was the smart. Was that just the dehydration in the brain and everything? Is that what you?
Yeah, absolutely. I do not think that you should cut weight for this. The dehydration of the brain. I mean, I truly believe. I just had a controversial draw in boxing, and I cut a very, very large amount of weight in a short period of time, just because I took the fight on relatively short notice, and it does affect your brain. And taking slaps and just eating them right there. You want to have your brain as hydrated as possible.
And moving forward, I think most MMA fighters, they like 2 to 3 fights a year. How often do you think you could do this a year and stay healthy?
This I could do much more often than any other sport, because obviously, thank the Lord I didn't get hurt. I obviously have some, little bit of bruising from getting slapped to heal, but not having to cut weight takes a huge element out of that. I think it's hard for our bodies truly to bounce back from cutting weight more so than coming back from a fight.
It's just back here. Congrats on the win. I'm just curious, you mentioned the flinching foul and stuff, and obviously the natural instinct when someone's going to hit you is to flinch or move your head away. That's what you get trained to do in MMA and stuff. So how hard is it to kind of separate your conscious mind when you're in that match?
Yeah, at the end of it, obviously, I got the flinching foul, and I didn't feel my body do it at all. So I do think that it was just like a reaction, a natural reaction coming from my MMA career. I was so torn between, I had some controversial guidance coming into it, whether you should have your eyes closed before you take the slap so you don't flinch, or you should keep your eyes open so your body can prepare to take the impact. So I was just going to be playing with and learning what works well for my body. And yeah, it was my first time. So of course, I'm really happy that I only got the foul one time.
Yeah, and you were obviously super hyped in the post-fight interview or post-match interview. Do you feel like you're built for this? Like, do you want to be a champion? What are the goals and ambitions here?
Yeah, I told everybody, and everybody should know that I am tough as hell. I have gone from the UFC to bare knuckle boxing to power slap. I've done pro wrestling. I just want to compete, and I had an absolutely incredible time doing this. I think that they're going to want me back, absolutely. So I do see a future here. I just want to compete, and I want to live my life and have fun and show off how tough I am.
Are you trying to slap Dylan Dennis?
That was a really good question. You know what? He's got a fight offer on the table that he can have any day of the week, and we'll pay his fight purse, but I don't think he's going to take it.
Thank you.
Is that referring to Austin?
It is, yeah. The offer's there if he wants it.
Okay. I know you had a pair of custom Jordan 1s tonight for Power Slap. Can we get a look at those? I think it was Jordan Diab and Mark Nash designed them.
Oh my gosh, I am so happy. It was last minute. I kind of was like, shoot, I really didn't bring like badass Jordans for this. And they were like, you know, they came together and they made the coolest pair of sneakers I have ever had. They say 12 gauge Paige Van Zandt. They have Power Slap on the back, and then inside of the tongue, it says like Port 4 Paige Van Zandt. They're the coolest shoes ever.
Are you hoping that your Power Slap debut inspires other former UFC fighters to debut? And would that excite you even more to face someone like yourself who's a name that people know?
I absolutely believe that there is going to be more women coming to Power Slap now. I think it takes, and for me, I'm not the first. You know, I was a fan of Jackie's. I watched her in the PFL and in Bellator. I watched her match up with Shayna, and she was part of the reason I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. I watched her, and she did absolutely incredible. Being a fan of hers, that helped me pave the way for me to come here. But I know for a fact there's going to be a lot more women coming over to Power Slap now after that, and I'm happy. I think that's absolutely incredible, and I truly believe any female that's successful in MMA or can box is going to do extremely well at this.
And I thought the Eminem walkout was good. When did you get the idea for that?
You know what? The Eminem walkout, I felt like it was perfectly suiting. It was Guess Who's Back, because it truly feels like I'm back, and it just feels like an honor to be with the UFC and be under their umbrella again.
Congrats.
Paige back here. You've done MMA, boxing, bare knuckle, and now slap. In addition to just the thrill of competing, is there something that stands out with slap that you feel like you're really suited for?
Yeah, you know, it's the majority of my career. You can look back in almost every single one of my fights, and they've been exciting, and they've been wars, and they've been really, really tough. And I have shown my heart in every single fight that I've had. And Power Slap is the perfect way to show your toughness and your heart. To be able to stand there in front of somebody and just let them hit you in the face, there is not a lot of people that are capable of that.
You've had a number of opponents across multiple organizations that you've competed in. Is there anyone that you really want to come to slap so that you can slap them?
No, I've never been someone to call people out. Again, I'm doing this because I choose to and because I love to. I know there's going to be plenty of girls to come over to Power Slap, and they'll tell me who I'm going to compete against next.
Paige, just one question. I just wanted your opinion on how, the structure of the corners, because they have another slapper there, but I don't think there's like too much really game planning. So would you prefer if it was someone like Austin who can kind of give you that emotional connection?
No, you know, actually, I was so happy that he got to sit in the audience and just enjoy this moment. I loved my corner. He was incredible. It was somebody who has had experience in this, so I truly trusted him. I was able to ask him, like, hey, I'm fine. I just took a slap. Should I go slap her right now? Because she's, I want to give her the least amount of time possible. And he was able to really talk me through exactly what to do. I trusted him. I felt comfortable. I was really happy with it. I couldn't complain, and I think I would want the same coach in my corner for the next one. Thank you, guys.
What's up, gang? All right, I gotta start with this one. The Crypto.com performance bonus winner of the night is Isaiah. He won $10,000 in cryptocurrency provided by Crypto.com. Sponsor out of the way. And then the other bonuses tonight were Dumpling, Paige, and Vern. They all won 10 grand in cash, not crypto.
Dana, to your left.
up, Kev?
Just curious what your thought of Paige was. Did she live up to what you thought she might do?
Listen, her first slap sounded like a gunshot in there. You know, she did a good job. If you think about it's the first time that she's ever done this, she did great. You know, rocked that girl 3 times, flinching violations, but you know, you got to expect. It's funny because when you think about the prelims, right, and you look at the prelims, you know,
So the fact that he was here, A, what did that mean to you? And B, you know, kind of symbolic of, do you think the power is shifting from Eastern Europe to the United States now with Power Slap?
well, now that I have Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, you know what I mean? Abu Dhabi is like the perfect place to do this stuff. We can get anybody in from all over the world. Trying to get people in right now from fucking Canada is tough, okay? Let alone Russia and these other parts of the world. So I'm working on some big things in Saudi Arabia right now, and I'm always working on big things in Abu Dhabi. So, you know, they love Power Slap. So we're gonna move light years in the things that I'm working on right now with those guys. So, yeah, we're doing some exciting stuff.
Dana.
Hey, Dana.
Hi.
I'm just curious, do you have any update on like a timeline for that, for Saudi Arabia and Power Slap heading over there? And do you plan on having?
Yeah, we're gonna do 2 next year over there, and then we'll do Abu Dhabi this year. I didn't announce it yet, but I kind of just announced it. But yeah, it's coming soon.
Will those be people that we've already seen competing here, or will it be fresh new?
Well, I'm looking to do the reality show over there too. We got the new season of the reality show comes out July 24th. You know, the reality show has done over 40 million views. So it's always been the blueprint for us on building talent and creating stars. That format, the best always rise to the top no matter what. So I love that format. We shake it up and do it in different ways, but we're gonna do a version over there.
What about Austin Turpin? We saw him
Yeah,
get a lot of games.
I bet nobody saw that coming. Yeah, I thought he was going to win that fight. Vern took it and then gave it. Man, he looked good tonight.
What about the weight miss?
What about who?
Austin's weight miss.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, he keeps doing it now. You know, I don't know. Maybe this will get him serious about it.
Also, there were some slap fighters. One donated a portion of his liver to another slap fighter's daughter. I'm wondering if you were included in that process, or what your thoughts are on?
Well, no, I mean, we knew about it and we knew it was happening and stuff like that, but I mean, it's a pretty amazing story.
Is that something that you've noticed, that maybe the people competing here in slap fighting are a little bit more of a family than maybe in the UFC or other
No,
sports?
it's like the early days of the UFC. That's exactly how we were. I mean, in the early days of the UFC, the Chuck Liddells and Matt Hughes and Rich Franklins, they were at my house for holidays and things like that. It was very much that way in the early days. And yeah, that's how all these guys are now. It's like all the slap fighters versus the world. Everybody's talking shit on the internet and fucking writing shitty stories and all that stuff. I tell these guys, fucking embrace it. It's beautiful. It's a great thing. You know what you don't want? The guys who write no fucking stories and don't say anything about it. And plus, we're building the sport a completely different way. And it's not built through the media. We're not building this sport through media. This is the future of how sports are going to be built. And I'm showing the whole fucking world how it's done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan, over here, other side.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen a steady increase in.
Love the hat.
Appreciate you.
They'll be there tomorrow.
Will they?
Yeah, no, Missoula will. He's here this weekend with his family.
Love that. In terms of Power Slap, I'm sure you've seen a steady increase in viewership and just like online interest in general. But speaking specifically to Paige, when you announced that she was participating, did you see any sort of like spike in interest or searches or anything?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody that you bring in, especially somebody that already has a certain level of fame and a certain level of followers, you attract new people to it. There's no doubt about it. And then if you look at what we do, I mean, tonight in that room, the most powerful influencers in the world are in that room every time we put on an event. These kids create content for a living. That's what they do. And nothing goes more viral, no matter who you are, how many followers you have. You're going to ask her than this does.
Paige said that she expects maybe other, former UFC fighters might, follow her into Power Slap too. Are you expecting more interest from, maybe they left the UFC, maybe they come back?
I don't know.
Power Slap?
It's a possibility. Yeah, I think, with Paige coming in, I think it opens the doors to a lot of people that see, wow, she did great, and might be interested in giving it a shot. But what's starting to happen right now with this thing is it's all about the live event. It's like the UFC. My first ever UFC event that we produced and that we did under our ownership was at the Trump Taj Mahal, right? We sold 3,000 tickets, and there were 5,000 people there that night. Tonight there were 3,500 people here, and it is fucking, I've been saying this since day one, it is exactly the same shit, except there was way more negativity around the UFC than there was Power Slap. There was no media for many years at the UFC. No media, like literally nobody was there for many years. And what else was very similar was that everybody just hated the UFC and thought, this is disgusting, this isn't a sport, this shouldn't be sanctioned. I mean, I could go on for an hour of how this is comparative to the UFC, except this is fucking. I have a sizzle reel that we have that talks about the business and how big the business is right now. I didn't have a sizzle reel like this for the UFC for 7 years. 7 years before I had a sizzle reel like the one that we have now for Power Slap, right? And I don't know if you guys saw the new movie coming out with The Rock for Christmas. Sure did. They're fucking slapping. There's a slap competition that happens in it. Now, if you look at how long it took for the UFC to break into pop culture, it was probably 9 or 10 years.
In the last Power Slap event, you talked about how maybe you wanted, the refs to, they didn't quite know the rules, and you wanted to like kind of clean some of the stuff up. Did you have any other conversations with them or refs or regulations?
Always, every single event that's coming up. That, like I say, this whole thing is a work in progress. Again, no different than the UFC and coming up. You had these boxing referees, trying to learn mixed martial arts and what was going on. And you know all the shit we went through, especially during the very low point of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, where I was just every night coming in here and just ripping them, It was so bad that at one point after one of my nights, the governor called me on Sunday and basically said, if you ever fucking talk about the Nevada State Athletic Commission like that again, you'll be doing fights in fucking, you know, wherever, not here. So that's how bad it was at one point.
Then last one for me, just because you brought up Missoula. Did you see those interviews with the Celtics where they said that Joe Missoula would show them UFC highlights before their games to kind of hype them up before their fight?
He and I would talk about that leading up to the games. Yeah, no, we talked. We've been talking for the last 2 years. So no, he's very into, and he was very into the Weili Jan fight. Mm-hmm.
Dana, to your left, way back here, to your left. So you mentioned that there's 40 million views of the reality show. I think there's 7 billion some odd social media followers across the platforms. How are you building this business differently, and how do those numbers help you build this business differently?
Well, first of all, the minute that I saw this, I knew that it was built for social, and that I told you the one that I saw with Dumpling, this thing on YouTube at the time in 2017 had 350 million views. I'm gonna tell you a story. I don't know what they're called. Maybe Frank does. There's an MMA event in South Korea, and they're starting to do slapping now before the MMA events. They posted a slap. They have no followers whatsoever. Things at like 260 million views. And it's not a knockout or anything like that. It's just a slap. I said it. Go back, and some of you were there and heard me in the early days. I said this will be the biggest sport in the world. This will be bigger than the UFC.
Dana.
This will be bigger than the UFC. Now you can remember I said that. Everybody will be like, oh, he's a fucking nut, and all that shit, and then I'll see you in a few years, and we'll talk again.
Dana, congratulations on a phenomenal event. Can you talk about the energy from the crowd in that ballroom tonight?
It's awesome. I started to talk about that with him, and I got sidetracked. God knows what I don't remember, but this is one of those events. It's like the UFC again. When we put on a live event, nobody leaves a UFC live event and goes, yeah, I don't ever want to see one of these again. I mean, that's the same thing with the Power Slap. It continues to grow. This was our 8th event. We've only done 8 events. And if you look at the success of this thing in just 8 shows, and now, we will get better every time we do it. The athletes will get better. There will be, people that come that continue to draw, and people want to see, Slap. And it's all just a huge work in progress. It will just get better every time we do it. The live event, the television production, guys, I say this since fucking UFC, since Slap 1. These guys should be winning awards for the television. I came back and I have a green room like right next door to here. The television product is unbelievable. And then I'll give you an example, and you guys can talk to her, but Angela Hill, she came tonight. She hit me up and she's like, listen, I'm by myself. Can I get one ticket to Slap? I gave her a ticket. She came tonight and she texted me after. She goes, I didn't get it, and now I get it. She said the clips on social media don't do it justice. That's one of the funnest live events I've ever been to.
Amazing. Yeah, just check on Rumble. 1.4 million is what it's showing right now. Could be lagging, but from what I see, that is a record-breaking for this night of. Originally, I know you talked that there was kind of a 2-year, I believe it was a 8-event contract. Is there any talk about a Rumble extension?
So our rights deals are up. We're talking to everybody right now. Me and Lorenzo Fluta. We're talking to all the streaming networks. We're talking to, online. I don't want to be too specific. And we're talking to all the majors. We've already are in talks with all the majors right now for this thing. And you know what we're going to do. I mean, I don't know how many fucking times I got to sit in front of everybody and tell everybody what I'm going to do, and then we go out and do it. But we're going to do it again.
Yeah. Dumpling, the guy who got you into this, seeing him perform, was it everything you hoped it would be for his appearance?
Yeah. I don't know how he could perform any better than he did. I mean, Frank, when's the last time he slapped? 3 or 4 years since this guy's even slapped. Mm-hmm. Frank found him out in the middle of Siberia and started communicating with him. We had to get translators, and, his flight to get him here was so expensive. It was insane how expensive his flight was to get him here. How many times did he have to change planes? 5. He had 5 different flights to get here from Siberia, Russia. And, the guy shows up, and literally puts on one of the greatest slaps I've ever seen.
Absolutely. You touched on season 3 earlier. What can we expect?
On what?
Season 3 of Road to the Title.
Listen, it's like every season, you end up with different characters. What I used to love about The Ultimate Fighter was the same format every time, but every season something different would happen. It would always be something different. And I love this format. It is the blueprint to find the best talent in the world.
One last one. Here at Fontainebleau, are we going to see that $1 million blackjack hand tonight?
Ooh, I'm playing Baccarat tonight, and yeah, we have a very interesting deal, me and the Fontainebleau. So it's going to be a very, very interesting night. Hopefully, I fucking dumpling these guys tonight, and get the hell out of here early.
Congratulations,
Dana.
Thanks, buddy.
Dana back here.
Yep.
When Paige Van Zandt left the UFC, you heard a lot of this. She was critical about her situation, some of the pay and stuff. And you hear her up there, she's just so glowing about the situation here. And we've seen her do all these different things between these. I guess what does it say that she's here now so early into this company and just speaking the way that she is about everything?
Yeah, these things happen in business and sports and things like that. I think that when you're in a position like these athletes are in, where you can be cut and all these different things, there's a lot of emotions and people get emotional. And I don't ever, you never hear me come out and defend or argue with anybody that leaves. However you're feeling at that time in that place, and even when you're here. I mean, we've had situations where people are complaining about things here and there. It's part of life, it's part of business, and it's definitely part of sports.
And a couple things related to tomorrow, if I could, UFC 303. What happened with Brian Ortega overnight, having to change that fight to lightweight?
So he got to a point at 3 o'clock in the morning where he couldn't cut any more weight. He was trying to cut weight, and he just couldn't lose the weight anymore. So, we had to make the call, see if they wanted to fight at 55. They both accepted the fight at 55. Doctors went in and checked him out, and he was okay, and the fight stayed together.
If Diego Lopez wins, do you kind of look at it as if it's a featherweight win in terms of like
it's
his
a featherweight
rankings?
win.
Yeah,
it's a featherweight fight.
And just one more. At the press conference, when Ian Gary and MVP were going back and forth, Ian was saying that he was trying to get information from his team and making bribes, and he said he's going to be suspended after the fight. And then this morning after the weigh-ins, we saw Ian have a very long conversation with the commission. I don't really know what they were saying. Do you have any idea what he's referencing as far as what could be going on there?
Mental warfare. I have no fucking idea, man. I mean, this is, as you get closer to the, and even what would the thing be if he was trying to spend money to get somebody into the camp? What would he be charged with if that was the case?
I don't know.
I mean, this kind of stuff happens. This ain't a fucking NFL where you're filming other guys and shit. I have no idea. To me, sounds like mental warfare. He's trying to get in his head or whatever the reason is, but I literally know nothing. I know as much. You probably know more than me.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Dana.
Hey.
With recent Power Slap events that you've put on, we are at the Durango, we're at Fontainebleau tonight, quite upmarket resorts and a world away from where...
Think about that. That's a great question. So think about what this place is and what it represents. This is like... I mean, when they did the grand opening here, it was fucking tuxedos and it was all celebrities. It was all celebrities that were here. Timberlake played at the fucking thing, and Power Slap is here. What does that tell you? You know what I mean? Dave Grutman's birthday party is here tonight, and all kinds of, there's a lot of fancy shit going on here. And I don't know if you guys have seen the lounge upstairs. Have any of you been upstairs to the? It is the nicest fucking thing you will ever see. I've never been in a place so nice. It actually has all these rooms that veer off it, right? And it's like a room where you and 12 of your friends can have a DJ, and it's beautiful, and they have a DJ and a bar and all this shit. They have a restaurant up there with 12 seats, and the guys literally prepare the sushi right there in front of you and give it to you. And the list goes on and on of very upscale, muffy type shit that goes on in this place, and it's the nicest shit I've ever seen. Power Slap is here tonight. What does that tell you?
Well, it's a world away from where Dumpling was 4 years ago. I saw him in a...
Where all these guys were.
You would have seen he had a slap fight with Zuluzinho in a prison block. Were you and Frank ever tempted to lean into the weirdness of the sport and locations like that, or was it always about Durango and Fontainebleau?
No, I'm fucking ruined, man. I want to be at the Fontainebleau. Yeah. I'm not looking to go to prison or in a barn over a barrel or any of the fucking places they were before this. I want the exact opposite. I want Fontainebleau.
Paige Van Sant said like a difference between MMA and slap is that she thinks she could do this more. Do you think she could be a feature like with every slap event if she wanted to?
Yeah, I think that if she takes this serious, she's just going to get better and better. I mean, she did a really good, she's an athlete. You know, if you look at all the things she's done, she's boxed, she's done bare knuckle boxing, she's been in the UFC, she's slapped now, she's done jiu-jitsu tournaments. I mean, you name it, this girl has literally done everything. And Dancing with the Stars, which she should have won. I guess politically you couldn't beat the deaf guy. The deaf guy's got to win it. But I thought Paige should have won it. Maybe I'm a little biased, but she's a great athlete. She's talented. So if she takes this serious, you know.
There's a last one from me. With the Power Slap tonight is on a Friday, UFC tomorrow on a Saturday for International Fight Week. Considering how popular Jiu-Jitsu is on Fight Pass, could we have a Fight Pass Invitational next year on a Thursday and have like a festival of all your combat sports throughout International Fight Week?
I like where your head's at. Yeah, and more. We're working on a lot of things right now, but that is definitely one of them.
Nice. Congrats.
Thank you. Have a great night. Thanks for coming. I'll see you tomorrow.
What's going on? Hey, so you won the Power Slap Championship today. What did you think about the decision? It was very close. What did you think?
I thought it could have probably went either way in my mind up on stage there. I definitely felt I was a little bit cleaner, so that might have got me a little edge.
Do you think you're going to face off against Muniz again?
Sorry?
Do you think you'll face off against him again? This is a rivalry maybe?
I mean, it could happen again, yeah, for sure.
And what were your emotions? You were very emotional after the win. What was going through your mind at that point?
I got to make some new dreams because I just accomplished mine.
What are some of the new dreams that you want now?
But I mean, I got one of these. Maybe I can get another one. That'd be cool.
What was the experience, at the Fontainebleau? Dana said after this, he's kind of spoiled, and this is where he wants to do these events from now on.
I haven't wandered around the Fontainebleau yet. I can't wait to. I did a couple virtual tours before we came out here, and holy cow, this place is nuts. I can't wait to go try some sushi. Yeah, that place looked really awesome.
In terms of the actual competition, how different was it competing here as opposed to, like the UFC Apex?
Yeah, the Apex is like home for us that have been in this for a little bit. we're very comfortable there. But a place like as new as this, it was smooth, and I can't wait to come back here. This is awesome.
I just got one question back here. I've been asking a couple of the different athletes tonight, but how much of a difference do you think it makes in really close fights when it comes to the screaming at your opponent, kind of shaking it off? And even tonight, Muniz's hair, you know, he had it all out, and when you would hit him, it would go flying. How do you think these play a factor in the decisions?
Well, if it's the judge's eyes that are seeing it, so if they're seeing, you know, hair flying and stuff, it might sway their opinion, but also the crowd, that huge crowd, definitely has to play a factor. When I, you know, called him out on his little high hit and they were reacting to it, it seemed like, you know, that might sway the judges as well because of whatever the crowd's doing, you know.
And now that you got the new belt, do you have any plans to get a little showcase for it, or where's this belt going?
Oh, we're going on tour with this thing.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Just to piggyback off of what Jake said with the belt, who was the person that got the first call that you were like, okay, I did it. This is really happening. And you had to talk to somebody in the back.
Well, my phone blew up, so it was kind of like, well, which one do I answer? And I actually picked up one of my old pizza managers called me on Snapchat,
Right.
and I was like, I did it, man. He's like, I'm so fucking proud of you, dude. That was unreal, you know. So it was pretty cool. I've been talking to a few people, but I got a lot more phone calls to make, and the family's waiting downstairs, so we're gonna party tonight.
Good for you, my man. Speaking of calls, nothing's more dramatic or just crazy that moment where they're reading the cards. How confident were you that they're going to say your name on that last one and your hand was going to be raised and new?
Oh, I was totally not that confident. If you could see my surprised look on my face, like, holy crap. I originally thought that I would have to finish Manny, like, to get the win. Because when you're challenging for the belt, you really want to beat that person. You know, the champion should get beat in order to lose his belt. So luckily I did a little bit more, you know, and it got the job done.
You may have already touched on this. I apologize. Do you head on to just bigger, better things, new names, or do you run it back since it was a split?
I mean, I'm not one to say no. So whatever they decide, I'm ready.
The last for me, the tour starts tonight. Any particular place that you go celebrate with your new?
Just with my family and friends. We're going to do it right here, baby.
That's what's up, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done, sir.
Thanks, guys.